Hi kids. So I'm going to be trying to finish this book today so we can discuss it on Monday. I'm probably going to have to do it in 2 videos though. So chapter 31, the letter. And I thought I'd just show you this. There's actual look like a real letter that's been written. So I always like books when they do that. Billy lifted the worm out of the frying pan with the cooking tongs and curled it back and forth on his peanut butter sandwich. Oof. I bet they'd try something, he said. Joe won't give up. Alan might, but Joe won't. Tom was carving his initials in the leg of the kitchen table. Yeah, but it's not Joe's bet. What does he care? Just the same, I bet he tries something. Billy sat down at the table, turning the sandwich this way and that, looking for the best spot to take the first bite. Emily came in from the dining room. You and Mom got a letter. Chewing, Billy opened it. It's from Charles B. McGrath, MD, and it says midnight, August 15th. Mrs. John Forrester. And it says, Dear Mrs. Forrester, I have just made a distressing discovery. And something is crossed out. It says, I can't quite read it, but it says something medical journal before getting up to bed. I noticed an article entitled Poisons in the Home Garden, a subject which necessarily fascinates me. As I glanced through the article, a phrase caught my eye, Lubricus terrestrius, a common earthworm. I read on. So something about this letter doesn't feel quite right. Like I'm wondering if it's a fake. Mrs. Forrester, let me assure, and assure is spelled wrong, you first of all, that there is no cause for undue alarm. However, you will, I'm sure, be concerned to learn that especially in the months of July and August, parents must beware of the common earthworm, some varieties of which are known to secrete a substance, Lubricus coreopsis, which, though not malignant to the skin, is sometimes harmful if swallowed. Dr. A.C. Roosevelt of Hyde Park, that was sounds like a former president, reports that 10% of the boys studied report again, not spelled right, no ill effects except induced paralysis, which means they couldn't move, of the lower Fulmar region. 40% reported abdominal cramping, triple vision, lasting for 3 is spelled wrong, years, and impairing school performance, and extreme lustitude. That's also spelled wrong. Autopsy reports have not yet been received on the remaining 50%, so the math doesn't work out. And so no final conclusions can be drawn, but extreme caution is urged since the blackened and pimply faces of the subject led one to suspect the worst. Mrs. Forrester, as your friend and family physician is spelled wrong, I would strongly recommend that your son William eat no more worms until I return on Thursday from New York City and can give him thorough is spelled wrong, examination. Yours sincerely, C.M. McGrath, MD. So my guess is that this letter was written by the boys. So trying to stop eating any worms. Chapter 32, Croak. His hand trembling, Billy laid the peanut butter and fried worm sandwich down on the table. Do you think, wow, whispered Tom. The screen door banged. Billy's father came into the kitchen, his tie loosened, his jacket over his arm. He laid his briefcase on the table. It's hot, he said cheerfully. Billy staggered to the sink and feebly drew himself a glass of water. Tom and Emily watched him, awestruck. What's the matter? Asked Billy's father. Water dribbled down Billy's chin and onto his t-shirt. His mind swam. Poison, paralysis, extreme lustitude. Tom, said Billy's father, what's going on? Tom pointed at the letter lying at the table. Billy's father read it, smiled, glanced at Billy, and getting a beer out of the refrigerator, sat down at the table. Well, he said to Billy, so it fooled you, eh? Fooled me? Croaked Billy. Yeah, I bet his father could read right through that. Chapter 33, the 14th worm. But how could Alan and Joe know all those medical words, Mr. Forrester, said Tom. Lubricus, coreopsis, fulmar. Do you know what fulmar really means? Tom and Billy shook their heads. It means a bird, a seabird, I think. Boy, said Billy, disgusted. He sat back down on the table and picked up his sandwich. They could be arrested, Mr. Forrester, said Tom. Couldn't they be arrested for defrauding the mails? Couldn't they? Billy grinned and bit down on the peanut butter and fried worm sandwich. Chapter 34, the 15th. Oh, you guys. Standing on a rusty pail, Billy peered through a crack into the horse barn. Joe was wandering about, lashing at cobwebs with a stick. Alan was slumped on a barrel, gnawing his thumbnail. That's an again and again, isn't it? We keep hearing that tells us about Alan. Billy went around to the door. Hi, he said. Alan didn't look up. Hi, said Joe. Billy glanced around suspiciously. Take it easy, said Joe. We concede, at least I do. He's still trying to think up something. He pointed at Alan with the stick. Where's Tom? Said Billy. He wouldn't eat his lunch, so his mother kept him in. Billy leaned over the platter on the orange crate and smelled the steaming southern fried worm. He wanted to load it with red pepper, said Joe, but I wouldn't let him. Billy forked ketchup, mustard, and piccalilli onto the platter, cut a piece of worm, dipped it into the glop, stuck it in his mouth, chewed nervously, swallowed, cut another piece. The worm tasted better than usual, sort of like kidney beans, southern fried kidney beans. Where'd you get this one? Down behind Bannerman, said Joe. From the muck? Yelled Alan. The muck? Gooey, slimy, stagnant muck? Billy grinned. Yeah, you'll have to show me. This is the best one yet. Alan jumped up and kicked the barrel, clattering into a stall. Joe shrugged at Billy, grinning. Billy held up the last bite. Ta-da! He swallowed it. Okay, let me look, said Alan. Come in. He peered into Billy's mouth. Oh, now, come on. There's still some stuck between your teeth there. Billy sucked noisily at his teeth. Okay? Alan's shoulders slumped. I can't get the money till tomorrow, he said. Oh, geez. You'll know I have to work Saturdays for 6 months to pay it back. He trudged slowly toward the door. Coming, Joe? Yeah, maybe your father won't act so bad if I'm there when you tell him. Alan stepped in the door. Tomorrow, he said without turning. 10 o'clock? He sounded as if he was going to cry. Yeah, sure, said Billy. Make it later if you want. Nah, it's not going to do any good putting it off. Come on, Joe. So right now, we're pretty much at this turning point. So to me, first of all, I was wondering, first off, the big conflict was, will Billy be able to eat all the worms? Well, as we came on through, we realized, yeah, Billy's going to be able to eat all those worms. But now I'm wondering, the real turning point is, what's going to happen to the relationship of these boys? Is it going to be split apart forever, or is somehow going to figure out how they can remain friends? Because they're obviously fun boys, but we're wondering if this is going to pull them apart. So let's keep reading. Chapter 35, Burp. Left alone in the barn, Billy hugged himself. I won $50. Ha ha. He sat down on the crate, grinning. Heck, I knew I could do it. I was so scared at first, waking up everybody up in the middle of the night. He burped. Beans. I should have made it 30 worms and $100. That stupid letter. Joe knew that he was licked. Ah, geez, beans. He stood up. How come that burp had tasted like beans? He'd had a hamburger for lunch. and a glass of milk. Then the worm, say, they couldn't have. He snatched up the platter. Nothing left, just a few crumbs of cornmeal, craning his neck, his eyes bugging out, straining. He burped, beans. Again, beans. Okay, this is again and again. I think I know what happened. I think Alan, basically they fried up beans and not worms. So it would be null and void. Oh, he's a clever kid. He burst out of the barn, stumbling over the sill, yelling. Across the field, Joe and Alan turned. Alan started to run. Joe grabbed his arm. It was a fake, panted Billy, coming up to them. You faked it. It wasn't a real worm. Real worm, said Joe. Yelled, out of beans. Then tomorrow you're going to say, I've lost. I hadn't eaten 50 worms. The last one was a fake. Oh, geez, said Alan. Come on, will you? He didn't do it while I was around, said Joe. You sure? What'd you have for lunch? A hamburger and milk. Yeah, but where'd you get the hamburger? I don't know. My mother bought it. What difference does that make? Yeah, well, a lot of hamburgers you get these days has stuff mixed into it. You know, sausage meat, soybeans, breadcrumbs, so the butcher makes more money. Yeah, said Billy. Sure, but anyway, you come on back just to make sure. I'm going to eat another worm. Geez, suit yourself. Eat 4 more. Come on, Alan, let's go. Let him eat what he wants. Let's see where I am with time. Let's see. I might just be able to finish this chapter. Chapter 36. The 15th worm. Billy threw back his head, lowered the worm. Alan charged around the door, leaped on Billy's back, flung him to the ground, punching, yelling, jumped up, grabbed Billy's feet, dragged him bump, bump, bump across the rough, chaffy floor to the tool closet, bundled him inside, slammed the door, locked it. Silence, water trickling through the trough outside. Alan panting. What are you going to do with him? Joe asked hoarsely from the doorway. If he's in the closet, he can't eat the worm, can he? You're crazy. He'll start to yell. His parents will hear him. Yeah? Yeah. Alan's hair was mussed. His shirt tail hung out. Yeah, said Joe, eyeing him. He will. He'll start to yell, and his parents will hear him. Alan glanced wildly about, starting toward the door, turned. Not if we put him down the cistern. The cistern? Joe wiped his mouth. Alan, cut it out. It's only $50. Come on, face it, you've lost. You can't put Billy down in that cistern all by himself. Suppose there's water in it. It's 15 feet deep. So this is a way to hold water on a farm. It'd be pretty dangerous. We can lower him down with a rope. Bang, 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 bang. Billy was kicking the tool closet door. Let me out. Help. Let me out. It's cheating. Help. I want to get out. I want to get out. I want to get out. Bang, 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 bang. He chanted rhythmically, kicking the door with both feet in time with his chant. Alan ran across the barn and grabbed hold of a beam. Skidding to a stop, began to kick aside the hay and trash that littered the planks over the old cistern. Bang, bang, bang. I want to get out. I want to get out. I want to get out. Come on, Alan yelled at Joe. Help me. We were all down in it last year. How's it going to hurt him? Come on, it'll work. I'll split with you. Get some rope. Bang, 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 bang. I want to get out. And we'll stop there. I'll read the last bit in just a bit.